MeloCat's expert chat. Upgrade your cat's lifestyle.
Everyone, thanks for coming in. For those of you who watch my channel, there's so many of you that were talking about abandoning pets, about rehoming pets, getting rid of the boyfriend, getting rid of yourself and your kids altogether because there's cat allergies. Now, before diving through a deep end, I actually found a company online. In fact, my buddy did. It's called Windly, and I was able to find their founder and their CEO. So big virtual round of applause.
Thank you for that intro, Melody. Hi, everybody. I'm Akash, co-founder and CEO of Windly. And what we do here is we fix allergies for life, and you don't ever have to visit a doctor's office. We try to make it as easy as possible.
Oh, geez. That sounds like music to my ears. Actually, before we even get started, should we just start with the more simpler question? Like, exactly what is Windly? Is that kind of like another form of immunotherapy, or is that the same thing, or what is it?
Absolutely. So what I've always seen is a lot of people have allergies. They understand what the symptoms are, sneezing and itchy nose and runny, tearing up eyes, but they don't realize that there's more you can do than just take an antihistamine. For example, before I started the company, and many of our patients, they have whole medicine cabinets full of Flonase or Singulair or Zyrtec or whatever antihistamine. I was this my way. Like, I used to go to a bulk store and just get a whole season's worth of Flonase, and I would just go through one every week, and it was just too much. And what you really see is if you go out and you ask a physician about it, they'll either give you more antihistamines, which might have more side effects like making you drowsy, giving you a little foggy head, or they'll tell you to do allergy shot immunotherapy, which requires going to a doctor's office every week for 3 to 5 years for an hour-long appointment. I don't know about you. I don't know about the people listening. But I was a teenager at the time. I was going off to school, off to college, going to the same. I could hardly keep a girlfriend for 6 months. I wasn't going to shoot a doctor for 3 years. Okay.
Oh, geez. That's more detrimental than I thought. Okay. Yeah, we got a lot in common. Yeah, go on.
Yeah. Eventually, my co-founder, who was also my cousin, he did a specialty in allergy, and he is in Denver, Colorado. And in Denver, there would be tons and tons of snowstorms and avalanches. And so he would have patients who were on the shots who would say, "Hey, doc, we're just going to quit because we can't drive 2 hours if there's an avalanche because it's all mountain passes in Denver. So if there's a bad avalanche, your drive down to downtown goes from 20 minutes to 2 hours."
Pretty much. Yeah, I can imagine.
And Manan, Dr. Shah, started looking around and seeing that in Europe, and in the US cities of Atlanta and Baltimore, and even up in Connecticut, there was a new treatment being adopted called sublingual allergy immunotherapy or allergy drop immunotherapy. So you take the exact same things that they would inject inside of you for allergy shots, but instead of an injection, you take it in an under the tongue drop. So that way it's much less intrusive to the body. It's a little easier. It's easier for you to carry around wherever you might be. And so it used to be that you had to go into the doctor's office to pick this up. But what Windly is doing is we're making it so that this treatment, which used to only be available in really academic hospitals like Emory or Johns Hopkins, is available across the United States and hopefully eventually across the world.
Oh, wow. So it's immunotherapy. I guess the logic would be the same, the mechanism, but it's just so much easier now. No more injections, don't have to wait. And that's what I used to do in college. I remember I had to wait for so long just to get that jab in the arm every single week. You mentioned that it's sublingual drops. Is there an easy to administer way for clumsy people like me? Like, for example, my one drop could be different than somebody's one drop. Can I actually screw up? I'm very clumsy.
I'm sure you're great. Yeah. So we've actually worked with our pharmacy to make it so that it is incredibly easy to do at home, because we understand that people are busy. They have children running around. They have cats running around. There are other things they want to do in their lives than spend 35 minutes figuring out how to do something correctly. So we made it as easy as possible. Our dropper looks like this. I'm just going to try and back it up. Yeah.
So it's like is it like a spray bottle? Does it look like a spray thing?
it drops out. It's like a spray bottle, but instead of spraying it into your mouth, it just puts one drop out, and it's a measured amount every time.
Oh, wow.
What our doctors will say is you should do 1 a day, or you should do 5 a day, or however the number is usually about 5 a day. And it's as simple as putting it underneath your tongue. You press the button 5 times, and then you hold it underneath your tongue for 1 to 2 minutes. So we tell people what you should do is you should do this in the morning, then you should start brewing your coffee. And by the time your coffee is done, you'll be good to go too.
Oh, wow. And it tastes, wow. And you just tackled so many things I was going to ask. I was like, what if I was to suggest it to my niece and nephews? Because kids they're not too much into the medicine taste and their tolerance is a lot lower. Okay, so that answered the question. Now, another thing is, what are some things that, say, the typical human should know before considering this treatment, like just to manage everyone's expectations in terms of like, how long do they have to commit? Or I don't know, like how long does it take until they can start to feel something? Because I'm impatient. I want to know. I need to have the eyes on the prize.
Oh, absolutely. No one wants to wait for ages when we're feeling miserable right now, especially here in the US. It's allergy season. And because it's a little warmer and because we were all stuck inside last year, we're all feeling a little bit worse when we go outside and are just smacked with pollen.
Right. Oh,
so what we like to do, because this is a treatment that we offer, but what we're really offering is a personalized treatment plan with your Windley doctor, right? Okay. So we're working with you however you need. This is not like a grab and go style thing where once you talk to us, we don't talk to you anymore. Our doctors work with you from the very beginning when we get your allergy test results to craft the plan. And so if you tell the doctor, I feel really bad, I need relief right now, he'll help you with that. And then if you say, but I never want allergies again, they'll help you with that too. And if you need tweaks along the way, we're actually reaching out to you every week to understand, hey, how are you doing today? Hey, it's a really bad pollen day. Have you considered maybe taking an extra antihistamine today? Just things along those lines, because we care about you. Now, specifically for sublingual immunotherapy, our patients see significant results by the 6-week mark. So that's when your immune system has really started saying, wait, I understand what's happening. I start recognizing this intruder. And instead of having to go all out and turn on the snot and turn on the tears and turn on the sneezing, I'm going to take care of it silently. So that's kind of like if you had to do multiple shots for your COVID vaccine, if you had one of those, 6 weeks, you know how you had to take your first one and then you had to go back 2 weeks later? 6 weeks gets you to that first stage. You're going to be like, wait, I only need 1 antihistamine instead of 5. At about 4 to 5 months, you're going to be like, wait, I don't need any more antihistamines anymore. So we've effectively locked in change to your immune system.
Whoa, that's actually a lot faster than the traditional jabs, because for me, I think it took like a good at least half year until I can actually feel something. The reason why I asked is because I was on the verge of giving out. Like I was in my teenagers, but that was before the internet. And I was like, I have patience. But then when the half year mark kicked, I was like, okay, I can't do this anymore. Oh, wow, 6 weeks.
And then what we aim for is now you're not going to be feeling anything, but we still need to lock in that change. We need to make sure that if once you go off the treatment, your body isn't, okay, we're going to be allergic again. So what the research shows, if you stay on the treatment for 3 years, you get about a decade of relief. But if you're on the treatment for 5 years, you can get almost 2 to 3 decades of relief. So it just comes down to what's the best fit for you.
Wow, that's pretty awesome. Now, that actually leads to the question. Traditionally, I remember I used to have to go in for scratch tests where they put the serums on my forearm and then there's like a plastic needle that kind of scratches it. But then I have to go into the clinic to do it. And again, I have to do it quite often. Now, with you guys, is that something I have to do physically, or is it something that you send over that I can do at home, or how does it work?
The scratch test, in my opinion, is barbaric and torturous and antiquated. You can't put children through it. It literally involves shoving little bits of what you're allergic to underneath your body, into your body. And of course, your body is going to have a reaction. At a certain point, if you get enough mosquito bites, your body's just going to say, okay, you know what? We just don't want to handle this at all. Yep. Instead, what we do is we provide you with a very simple sample collection kit. So we send you 2 lancets and you're able to prick yourself very easily. And you just have to collect a little bit of a very small blood sample onto a card like this.
Take a look.
You can't really see it because of the lighting, but you just need to drop a few drops of blood right here. Very simple. We provide you a nice little guide on how to do it. If you go to this QR code, there's a little video, and tell you what, we even send you candy because we understand that sometimes it's not easy and we want to make it easy.
Oh, so that's for the initial test as well, I assume. Is that correct?
This is the only test that we require because after that point, we continue following up with you and we're able to collect self-reported data on if you feel like you're being successful or not.
Wow.
And that works. You know, we've seen that works as well as continued testing for understanding the efficacy of the treatment.
Wow, that's actually pretty good. So no more of that. As you said, for kids, even me as a teenager, I hated that scratch test because I remember they had 8 or 10 dots and it looked like mosquito bites. But after 30 minutes, they all connected together and it just became like a giant bump on my arm. And that was horrible.
It's pretty atrocious. And then what we also like to do is we saw, and I'll send you an example of this, Melody. We saw that folks would get their test results and they'd be like, this doesn't mean anything to me. How can you help me? And so we built this beautiful visualization around it. And I'll send you one along and you can, you'll be able to see that, oh, wow, the before and after is pretty wild.
Oh, wow. I think that's something that we all look forward to seeing. Sometimes it's about plowing through. I guess 6 weeks, there's not a whole lot to plow through, but it's seeing the results visually. I think that would actually help, especially people like me. Again, I'm very impatient. Now, another thing is, I want to know, like in terms, you covered a little bit of it. You said was it 3 years? You can get about a decade. And was it 5 years? About a couple decades. So are the results pretty much comparable or even better overall compared to traditional allergy shots in terms of effectiveness, the intensity, the longevity, or even the side effects? How do you think it compares to traditional ways?
Now, compared to traditional allergy shots, my opinion is what patients do, what people stick with is the best treatment, right? You can have something that is incredibly good, but if people don't stick with it, then it's not actually helping anybody. So
it's true.
From a clinical perspective, from an actual compliance and who is sticking with this and who is doing it until that 5-year mark, we've seen that the allergy drops are much more likely to fit within a patient's lifestyle and a person's lifestyle because you don't have to go to the doctor's office every single time. It's just much more convenient. From a mechanism of change perspective and from a purely scientific perspective on what is most effective, because the treatment, the actual ingredients inside of these items, which are allergen extracts, they're literally pieces of what would trigger your allergies out in the real world. It's the same whether it's in the shots or the drops. It's just the mechanism of getting it into your bloodstream is different.
Okay.
Because it's the exact same, the outcomes there are exactly the same. There is no difference there.
Minus misery.
And it's getting a shot regularly.
Believe it or not, I didn't get desensitized to that. You would think somebody who's gotten allergy shots for so many years wouldn't be afraid of needles, but that's actually not true. I got hypersensitized to it. Now at the sight of looking at needles, I'm like, you're not coming near. Wow, only if you guys existed when I was a teenager.
Safety. I think when it comes to safety, the reason this treatment actually originally started in England because children were reacting. There were some really strong anaphylactic reactions in children. And the physicians were like, how can we get a safer way of exposing children to this? Because the kids were just much more sensitive.
So anaphylactic is when this constricts, right? When the airways get swelled up.
Yeah, it's a very strong allergic reaction that oftentimes causes swelling in the throat and just makes it very difficult to breathe or eat or anything. It can be fatal in very rare occurrences. It's definitely not fun to go through. In fact, the reason you have to stay in a doctor's office 30 minutes after your allergy shot is because there's such a high risk of anaphylaxis.
I would be the best spokesperson for that. Sorry to interrupt you. Just now that you mentioned it, when I got the jab, long story short, one time they had a different nurse who read 0.1 milligram is 1.0 milligram. So they jab me with 10 times the stuff and they didn't keep me for 30 minutes. True story. I was only 19 and I walked out of the office and I was like, okay, it's -10, but it's super hot. So I started scratching myself And then I looked in the mirror a few minutes after, and I realized I looked like I just came out of like being beaten up. And I realized that somebody was strangling me really bad. And I was like, okay, this is bad. So I had to run back up. As soon as the elevator doors open, the only thing that came out of these people's mouth were nothing but cursing. And because they were so scared. And so they actually gave me a few injections. Is it norepinephrine or?
Yeah.
EpiPen?
They literally just epinephrine injection just to get it under control as quickly as possible.
Yeah, I think that was my closest thing to dying. This is a true story. It happened once.
Yeah, no, I 100% believe it, which is why it's so important that you're under observation. And it sounds like maybe you were in a rush, someone was in a rush, and you just didn't stay under observation as long as possible. So that's exactly what was happening. And people were like, the medical community was thinking there's got to be a safer way, a less risky way. And these drops are what came out, because the way the body responds to something entering the bloodstream through your mouth is very different than through an injection.
Oh.
And also, we are replacing severity in dosing for more consistent exposure. So even though you might get a very concentrated dose directly into your bloodstream every week, we're getting you a less concentrated dose every single day. And we're trading off that like aggressiveness for consistency.
And I guess the risk profile is a bit lower too, in case,
The risk profile is much, much lower. It's calculated that there is a 1 in a billion chance of a anaphylactic response when it comes to the drops, where it's more like 1 in 100,000 when it comes to the allergy shots.
Actually, that's true. I'm no doctor or pharmacist, but that's like the dangers when they have these documentaries about street drugs. Ingesting and injecting it, the risk is a lot higher when they're injecting it. So I think, I'm guessing the logic is the same, just the modality affects that. I remember the injection site or even the scratch site used to look like a mosquito bite. For me, when they up the dosage, when they adjust it every now and then it becomes like a wasp bite. Sometimes it's like a snake bite. So when I get the sublingual drops, will my tongue or my mouth swell up?
We see sometimes patients report like 2 or 3 minutes of a little bit of tingling, but that's about it. Sometimes we ask patients when they start for the very first time to just continue taking their antihistamine alongside of it, but that's just more of a precautionary measure. It is very low chances of anything uncomfortable happening in this treatment, because we understand that this is something that's being done outside of a medical environment. We're sending you medicine to take at home. And so we've done everything we can to reduce the chances of incorrect administration or just something going wrong. Because if something goes wrong, you aren't having a positive medical experience anymore. We're over here trying to make American healthcare easier and better. And if we get you in trouble, we're not keeping our promise. So we've built our entire experience around how can we make it easier? How can we make it less confusing? How can we get you as a patient to not really have to worry at all?
Yeah, the user experience, that's what we look at nowadays. How fun it is. It would be great if it's fun. And now you mentioned that it's good tasting, so that adds to it. Now, and another thing is, I'm just trying to think from memory. They used to have a build-up phase and like a maintenance phase. Is it like that with the drops as well? Does it follow that same path?
Yeah, so we have that strengthening phase for the first 6 weeks. And then we alter it a little bit for the first 6 months. And then we have that lock-in phase, which you could say is the maintenance phase until that 3-year mark. It's the exact same mechanism of change in your body as allergy shots. So we also have the build up and maintenance. We call it strengthening and lock-in because it's just a little easier to understand. So we're strengthening your immune system and then we're locking in that change. That goes back to that 6 weeks thing I said earlier, where we're exposing you to more and more. And then eventually you've gotten to the point where you're just set there. And now we're just making sure that your body never reverts back to an allergic state.
That's just the best thing I've ever heard since the beginning of, this decade. This is really good. Now, another thing is, I know it's probably a little bit redundant, but for me, I'm a bit of a worrywart. I hope I'm not the only one. But is there somebody that I can actually talk to, or if there's anything like a contingency, or if it really messed up, or like, is there somebody that I can contact, or Like, how does it work?
Absolutely. You have your Winley doctor a text message away all the time. That the treatment, again, you aren't just getting the medicine, you're getting us. You're getting a doctor in your pocket who is dedicated to making you feel better when it comes to your allergies. When I say that we're reaching out to you, we found that most of our patients like text messaging more than email or phone calls. So we try to do as much over text message as possible. You can text us and we will get you a response as quickly as possible. You can ask us whatever questions, whatever hiccups you have. You can even say, hey, doctor, I'm going on a vacation. Can I get a few months of my treatment early? We'll make it happen. Whatever you need, we're here to help you. We do have folks who sometimes they do get a little worried and they say, hey, can I have an EpiPen? Can I have extra antihistamines? And we're happy to provide that because we're a real doctor's office. We're not just some startup that's trying to do whatever. We're a doctor's office that has a physical location in Denver, Colorado that is also available online.
That's very comforting because with a lot of the stuff that we see online now, because we don't really know like actually what's behind there. It could be just somebody sitting in the basement. Some of them it's not even registered. And it's good to know that like these are actually real people, real doctor with an actual practice. So that's very good. It's not something that you see every day.
Our founding doctor actually sits on the American Academy of ENTs. So he's a member of that. And then we have advisors who are leading researchers at Stanford and at Case Western University. So we've got the best doctors. I know, right? You got the strongest team of doctors that you could hear.
Where were you guys when I was in school? Wow, this is really exciting. I'm going to tell like everybody about this. And just for those who's watching, this is not even a sponsored video. If you've been following my channel, you know that 99.9% of whatever I do, it's not sponsored. It's just because I really like their stuff. And I just find these people and I just have a conversation with them, hoping to make your lives better as a cat owner, cat parent. Now, another thing is just a curious question. A few of me and my friends, and actually some of my subscribers asked, it's just a curious question. Why does Winley not handle food allergies?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So first off, remember what I said, that we do everything around making this safe over the internet, right? You are not in an office with us. And that's really what it comes back to. We don't feel like we're able to control dosage of food allergies well enough so that if instead of just a few drops, someone drank our whole bottle, that they would still be okay. We've experimented with peanut allergies. We've seen shellfish allergies. And what it really came down to is it's just not something that we were comfortable doing safely across state lines or through the internet, and something that we would rather prefer. We still think that it'd be best for people to go into a doctor's office for. Now, there is some research coming out in the next few years, especially out of Stanford, saying that, hey, this might be something that we can put together in a much stronger fashion, but it's just not there yet. And it's all about safety for us and all about making it more convenient and easier for you.
Oh, definitely safety first.
And then there's also a few folks that we don't take on because of what's known as contraindications, which effectively is a fancy way. It's a medical way of saying maybe it just disqualifies you from this treatment. And that's generally if you have other immune system disorders like mast cell dysfunction or eosinophilic esophagitis. Again, just because they're going to get in the way of the mechanism that we're trying to fix.
Okay, but generally things like kids, pregnant women, lactating, diabetes, those I guess generally are okay. It's probably something that like people with that, they can still use this immunotherapy.
We would say 99% of folks, 99.9% of folks aren't going to have anything that's going to get in the way of this. And this won't get in the way of anything that they're doing. Specifically in the case of pregnancy, we do suggest that you don't start if you're pregnant. But if you're already on the treatment and you become pregnant, then it's totally fine. And that's just more of a function of like when you're pregnant, you just keep it calm and not rock the boat.
Yeah. Again, safety first. And it just brings peace of mind. And now I know a lot of my viewers are actually in the States. They're probably going to ask this question too. For those of you who's watching, I know it's at the back of your head. Is it covered by insurance?
We are not covered by insurance, but we do take HSA and FSA cards.
Okay.
And what we really found is if we wanted to be covered by insurance, we would have to collect copays every week, which would actually make us even more expensive. right?
Oh, that's true.
And so what we saw is we could either do that and it could be annoying and we would have to bother you every week about a payment, or we could say, here's our flat fee, do it through your HSA, do it through your FSA, which is already pre-tax, and you'll be good to go.
Okay.
And so we found that most folks appreciate that. From a cost perspective, we are much more affordable than going into a doctor's office for shots.
What are we looking at? Just as a ballpark, just for, I don't know, a typical individual. I know that they might vary, but.
Yeah. So it depends on your insurance. We're $99 a month. That doesn't really change. For a doctor's office, here's a great example. I had a $30 copay every time I had to go into the doctor's office, and the medicine wasn't covered. So if I had to go for weekly shots, that's $120 just in copays. And then it was going to be another $200 every 3 months for the medicine. And so the only thing that was really covered was the doctor's time. Here, what you guys are. Yeah. And so there was just a lot of complications. And we thought, this is not going to let us be simple. This isn't going to let us give the experience that our patients deserve, which is a better experience, right? They don't need to be going through the frustrations of the healthcare system. It's as simple as you coming to us and saying, here's my card, get me on the treatment. And then you don't have to worry about how many times you have to talk to the doctor. You don't have to worry about how much medicine you need. If you want an extra test, we're happy to send it to you.
Oh, wow. And when you said flat fee, so that means if I'm allergic to one thing or two things, the price is still the same.
What we usually see is folks are allergic to about 10 to 15 things, and we treat them for all of it. And sometimes what we'll also say, and this is where having a doctor is so important, to have a doctor involved in the process. We'll see somebody that says, oh, you know what, doc? Yeah, I'm mostly allergic to cats and dogs. For 3 to 4 weeks every summer, I just have the worst sneezing fits. The doctors are able to understand, oh, that means because you're in the American Southwest, it means that it's the flowering season for such and such. Why don't we just also include tree pollen or grass pollen or whatever it is, whatever regional mix it is, and just handle it? Because there's a much less risk of, if we can treat you for 10 allergies, for 20 allergies at once, we're going to do that instead of only treating you for 2 or 3.
Wow, this is like the best happy hour I've ever heard of. It's like you can drink any cocktails, any booze for the same price. It is not booze, but it's a good concoction that's good for you. Now, the last question I want to ask, because for my channel, the age really ranges. Like my youngest subscriber that I know right now, it just turned 13. And the oldest subscriber that I know right now is 74. Does it make a difference rather or not they start really early at 13 or at 74? Is there a difference or?
No, there's no difference in efficacy. We do suggest that if you want to get your child on it, that the child is at least 5 years old. Younger than that, they're just still developing and we're not sure.
Oh.
There is some benefit to starting when you're younger, but that's just more secondary benefit in the sense that it'll help you avoid developing more severe asthma. If you have asthma, it just helps you grow up and it just takes care of something. The same way you want to get braces when you're younger because it just handles it. But you can also get it as adults. We actually have patients as young as 6 and as old as 76. I know it sounds crazy, but I was just on the phone with them yesterday.
Never too late to start.
If you're running marathons or if you're staying healthy, you just don't want to deal with these things anymore. And we just make it so easy. So they were just saying, for the 6-year-old, it was the mom, and she was just saying that she doesn't have time to go to the doctor's office. For the 76-year-old, they were just saying they're traveling a ton. They love going on cruises, and you can't take your doctor on your cruise with you. I guess you can, but...
You can, but it's a very different price bracket we're talking about. Thank you so much, Akash. Thanks so much for your time. This is actually the best news I've ever heard because much of my channel revolves around how to actually create a good environment so that cats and humans can coexist. And a lot of times we actually run into allergy problems, and you'd be surprised how often I actually hear people getting into a dilemma. Is it the boyfriend or is it the cat? Or is it like getting a hairless cat? I'm like, no, I think you should actually treat it. But then I never really have the answer for it. So now we found you.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
And if you guys want to see more about Winley, I'll actually put their information in the description. I hope you guys find it helpful. If you got anything, feel free to DM me or even DM them. If something I can answer, I'll answer. If not, Akash can answer as well because he's the guy. Thanks again. So I guess we'll say goodbye to the audience. Thanks, you guys. See you in my next video.